Hey guys, we're going to be doing another rank 1 video on the Clash of Wills for Nier. And again, apologies for my voice, I'm kind of sick right now. But anyway, so one of the big problems with this boss is that for some people, the boss will heal, and for other people, it does not. I think I figured out the reason it's healing for some people and not others. It's based on your device. When I'm on the Amazon version of the game, the boss is not healing for me. I figured out that if I play the game on the Google version, it does heal. So we're going to do the fight on the Google version that does heal and do a rank 1. This is for those of you that are having to deal with the healing. We're going to do a clear that does heal and we're still going to get rank 1. So this is the party we're going to use. We're going to leave Tsukiko at home because people did ask me to use a no Tsukiko clear. And we're not going to use A2 either because A2 is kind of janky. But 2B is a really big deal. We are going to use 2B. So here's the team. Here's the party. Let's give it a go. And I wish my voice wasn't going out on me, but, you know, do what you can. Anyway, the boss is going to heal on the threshold, and I'm going to show you how to deal with that. Okay, so to start off, the first thing we're going to do is use Return Fina. Wait for the auto casting. A lot of auto casting on this clear. It's kind of a headache, but it's okay. Okay, so Return Fina is going to imbue the party and then double Resolute Arrow. 2B is going to do her killer buffs. Those fill the morale gauge as well. Wilk is going to shift and do Dragon's Reincarnation. That is going to break the boss. Wilk is going to be our primary breaker. Lilith is going to do Betrayal and double Rapture. Kresnik is going to Arcane Stimulant for the morale fill. And Runda will LB. So Runda is covering for the tanking, while Lilith is provoking for the single target fixed attacks. Yeah, this clear is pretty similar to my previous clears. We're just going to be not using Kaito, so we're doing a turn 6 burst, and the boss is going to heal up. So here we go. Some attacks, blah, 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 not too big of a deal. Turn 2 will be a lot less damage. Okay, we're diseased and all that, but don't worry about it. All right, wait for the auto casting to finish. All right, we're going to use the Bahamut field with Return Fina. That's a Holy Amplify field. Once Kresnik finishes auto casting, we're going to do Arcane Antioxidant. That's for the resistance buffs. We're going to have Runda just do cover and double Bolting Strike. 2B is going to just do her triple killers again. Wilk is going to go back to the base form, and we're going to triple cast Steady Claws to refill his LB gauge. And Lilith can just do Rapture and Betrayal and double Rapture again. That'll heal the party a little bit. But this turn's a relatively low damage turn, so we don't got to worry about it that much. Having a cold sucks. Really apologize that my voice is killing me, but it's fine. We'll deal with it. Anyway, yeah. So some attacks, blah, blah, blah. First part of this fight is pretty standard. Okay, so this is one thing we're going to do a little bit differently on this turn. We're going to have Kresnik do his shifted LB as the first action on turn 3. Kresnik's shifted LB is a perfect dispel. So once he finishes auto-casting 1,000 times, come on, Kresnik. We're going to use Kresnik's LB. That's going to heal the party, cure the debuffs, and get rid of the boss's barrier. Now we're going to shift Wilk, and we're going to do Quake Blade for the Axe in Peril. We're going to have Return Fina do her LB before we do anything else. We're going to have 2B do True Charge, and then both her killers. We're going to wait on Runda, and we're going to have Lilith do her LB. Okay, so we're going to send these guys, and then we're going to send Lilith. A little bit, it's kind of janky. But we're just doing a little bit of bonus damage, so in case we don't do more than 2.5 in the burst threshold, we don't get the boss stuck at like 52%. And now Runda will do his SLB. That's going to refill people, etc. Okay. Alright. Some attacks, not really worried about too much on this turn. Blah, blah, blah. Turn 3 is really easy. Turn 4 is the painful turn. Alright. So turn 4, like I said, is a pretty painful turn. So we're going to just guard Runda on this turn so he survives nice and easy. We're going to go back to the base form with Wilk, and we're just going to claws 3 times to refill his LB gauge. You know what we can do is we can bolting 3 times. That's not even bolting. Look at me. Oh my god. Bolting 3 times. Let me actually change my turn chart slightly for this. What is it, turn 4? Yeah, we're going to change that up. Fina is going to SLB on this turn. Now, Kresnik, if Kresnik's LB is not ready, we can use Bard Darkjaw on Lilith to fill Kresnik's LB, but it is ready, so we're going to use Kresnik's base form LB. That's going to heal the party and start doing some auto heals per turn. And now we're going to, because we don't need Lilith to fill Kresnik, we'll just Betrayal and double Rapture. And then we're going to do the shifted LB of 2B. So we can try to chain these up a little bit if we want. And maybe we'll, what's it called? Break through the shield. Probably not, honestly. So this is probably going to deal like no damage, actually. Yeah, it's not even going to break the shield. Oh well, whatever, we tried. It doesn't really matter. This is all a setup turn. We're bursting on turn 5. Yeah, if you're not using Kaito, you really want to do a turn. I'm sorry, we're bursting on turn 6. If you're not using Kaito, you want to turn 6 burst. That way the boss has no buffs. Kaito can remove the buffs, but we can't do that if we're using if we're not using Kaito. Okay, so Kresnik is now going to alright, hold on a sec. Alright, Runda is now going to cover and double bolting. Wilk can just do triple claws this turn, you know, kind of whatever. Fina, let's use Fina first. Let's have Fina imbue the party and double Resolute Arrow. Then Wilk can do his thing. 2B is going to go to the base form. We're going to use her Big Magnus, then Pod and Blade. And Lilith can just do the same thing. We're just going to Betrayal and double Rapture. Okay, so we're going to be bursting on turn 6. That's going to be our 2.5 burst, etc. Oh, I forgot about Kresnik because he was busy auto-casting the whole turn. Alright, Kresnik is going to Medicinal Mastery for the human mitigation. We're going to Remedy for the debuff immunity. And we're going to Potion just to top off the tank and such. Okay, and that cures all the debuffs, the breaks, and all that goodness. Turn 5 is a light damage turn, so it's not really that big of a deal. Alright, and you can notice the boss no longer has a defense or spirit buff because, you know, it wore off naturally. Okay, so on turn 6, we're going to do our burst. So give me just a second and I'll explain what's going on with this. Okay, Wilk is going to do Dragon's Reincarnation. He's going to be the first one clicked, and that'll dispel the barrier. Fina is going to triple Bolting Strike to match Wilk. Make sure she's lower in the party order than Wilk, or the chain might break. We're going to base form LB 2B, and then we're going to LB Lilith. And just make sure that Wilk and Fina go before the other guys. Yeah, and we're gonna do that. So let's go ahead and chain these guys up. And that'll be our damage cap. It'll also be the 100 count chain score. And this should push the threshold as well. It did. We overpushed. Okay. Now we're going to do Runda. After all that, wait just a moment, and now we're going to do Kresnik. Now, like I said, on the Amazon version, the boss was never healing for me, and I couldn't figure out why. After testing all kind of stuff, I figured out it was based on, at least for me, this might not be the same for everybody, but on the Google version, the boss does heal. Now, for everyone, the most the boss can heal is 2.14 billion, because that's like people explain it to me, like that's like the coding unsigned integer cap or something or other. For whatever reason, the boss is only going to heal up to 86%. And we're going to normal attack Kresnik to refill LB gauges with a quad attack after everyone bursted. So here is the boss's healing, 2.14, because we're on Google. There it is. Yeah, for some reason, the Google version heals, the Amazon version doesn't. So I guess, technically speaking, if you really want to cheese the fight and have the boss not heal at all, install it on Amazon. Maybe, I don't know. For me, every time I tried it on Amazon, it doesn't heal. When I play it on the Google version, it does heal. But either way, this guide works both ways. Whether it heals or it doesn't, this guide is going to still continue to work. Okay, so turn 7. Turn 7's a painful turn, so Runda is going to guard. Now we're going to use Kresnik to imperil the boss from an Esper. We're on Shiva with the Imperil spell learn. That's going to be a 100 Holy Imperil because the boss cured all our debuffs. As you can see, all the debuffs are cured. So we're going to Imperil. Okay, now Wilk, because we did the LB fill last turn, Wilk's good to go again. We're going to Dragon's Reincarnation, and that's going to break the boss again, dispel the barrier. Fina is going to do... sorry, my throat's really killing me. Double Resolute Arrow, and then Brilliant Veil. We're going to go to the shift form of 2B, and she's going to use her shifted LB. That's a triple bolting strike. And we're going to use Lilith to do, what's it called? We're going to do Kiss of Betrayal, and then double Rapture. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and chain these guys up. Make sure Wilk is the first one that you click to get the breaks and the imperil on the boss. And then we're going to deal some damage here. This is not going to be a ton of damage. We've only got a very bad imperil. The killers have worn off and all that. The good damage will be coming in the next 2 turns. This is just some like chip damage. Okay, so here's some damage on our Runda. It's a very painful turn. He is guarding, so he should be fine. Yeah, turn 4 and turn 7 are the worst turns of the fight as far as incoming damage. But if you guard your tank on turn 4 and 7, you should be fine. Okay, so we're going to use turn 8 to reset up the party to get ready for the big burst on turns 9 and 10 to finish off the boss. So, wait for the auto-casting to finish. There's a lot of auto-casting. It's a big headache. You'll see the team's gear and all in a moment. Come on, auto-cast. I hate you. Alright, let's go ahead and SLB our return Fina on turn 8. Let's have 2B do True Charge Blade and both the killers. Let's have Wilk go back to the base form, and we're just going to refill his LB gauge with a triple attack. We're going to have Runda do cover and double bolting. This turn's a relatively low damage turn. We're going to have Kresnik do his normal attack times 4. That's going to refill 2B's LB gauge with quad normal attack. And then Lilith can just do whatever kinda. We can just Betrayal and double Rapture, because who cares? And that'll heal the party up as well, which is useful. Alright, like I said, turn 8's a pretty low damage turn, so we don't got to worry about it. And now turn 9 and 10, we're going to be doing that big boy burst to finish off the boss. We got to burn through 70% more because the boss did heal, but because we're using robots and demons, it's fine. And if you don't have Lilith, don't have her EX3, you can use Tsukiko instead of Lilith, and kind of the same concept. Tsukiko also ignores the mitigation in phase 2. Yeah, because you can notice right here, the boss reduces damage from humans and beast, so Wilk is being heavily nerfed on his phase 2 damage, but that's okay. Okay, so what we're going to do, again, Kresnik's cooldown, Kresnik's shift cooldown is now available. So we're going to shift him and do his shifted LB to dispel that barrier before we do anything else. So there we go. Now Wilk is going to shift, and because the barrier is already gone and the boss is already broken, we're going to now use his Vengeance of the Dreadnought. Fina is going to triple Bolting Strike. We will go to the base form and base form LB of our, what's her name? 2B, and we'll use the SLB of Lilith. Now we're going to go ahead and chain, we're going to wait on Runda. We're going to use Runda last. So we're going to go ahead and chain these guys up. Wait just a moment, then send Lilith. And this should be a chunk of damage. The resistance you're seeing is because of human mitigation, and Wilk is being resisted. And a big chunk from Tsukiko and, and Lilith and 2B at the end. Now we're going to do Runda's SLB. That being said, turn 9 is relatively painful as well. He probably won't, but there's a small chance that Runda does die on turn 9. If he does die, it'll be after the AoE damage, so only thing remaining is single target damage, and Lilith is provoking. So even if Runda does die on turn 9, the single target damage after he dies will go towards Lilith, and she will not die. All the AoE damage is what was real painful. So our Runda took basically very low damage that turn, so we're fine. But, you know, sometimes, depending on variance, the boss can deal a bunch of damage on turn 9 and possibly kill your Runda. But like I said, after Runda dies, the rest of the damage would all be single target. It would all go to Lilith, and not got to worry about it. Okay, so now we are going to use Kresnik to normal attack times 4. Make sure both the shift and the base form are quad attacking. So we're going to use the base form of Kresnik once he finishes autocasting 1 trillion times. He's going to quad attack times 4. That'll refill the LB gauge of Wilk, Lilith, and 2B. We're just going to guard Runda. We don't need him. So we're going to LB. We're going to base LB of 2B. We're going to have Fina triple bolting. And we're going to have Wilk Dragon's Reincarnation to get rid of that barrier. So again, Wilk has to be the first one clicked, so the barrier is removed. We'll go ahead and chain this up, and this should be the end of ARach-2 with, even though the boss is healing. So there it is, and then the big self-caps at the end. Boom, done, handled. Okay. Honestly speaking, I do feel like Tsukiko is a better DPS than Lilith here, because Tsukiko can bring you the, the Imperil Field. And that Imperil Field would be a really big help for damage here. But it was requested that I do a no Tsukiko video, so we swapped in Lilith instead of Tsukiko. There's a rank 1 perfect score, even though the boss healed. We didn't use A2 because she's not that great, and we didn't use Tsukiko because it was requested that we didn't. Here's the, here's the damage breakdown. So like I said, 2B really carries this fight. This strategy does kind of rely on 2B to carry all the phase 2 damage, especially if the boss is healing. If you can't deal with the healing, you can kind of cheese it by playing it on Amazon, I guess. That being said, I don't know if the Amazon version doesn't heal for everybody, but that ended up being why mine wasn't healing, because the Amazon version. I don't know. It's very strange. Anyway, Lilith does a lot of damage, and the reason for that is, for one thing, her damage is really good, but also she's a demon. Therefore, she's not affected by the phase 2 mitigation. Tsukiko is a great swap for Lilith, because Tsukiko is also not affected by phase 2 mitigation. Wilk is kind of important because we do need some damage and dispel. You know, while Kaito can dispel the boss, Kaito cannot deal any damage. So Wilk is a nice option for that. It's kind of nice to see Wilk being useful for once in his life. Alright, let's go ahead and show the gear for the team. Alright. So here's the team's gear. As far as espers go, make sure that your Fina is on Behemoth. That's required for the field. Make sure your Kresnik is on an esper that has the Imperil spell. It doesn't matter which one. A bunch of espers have that. Make sure Fina is behind Wilk in the party order. That way the chain doesn't break. Make sure Lilith is before Runda in the party order. That way she takes over provoking. Okay. Let me show you the gear. So Lilith is now just passive provoke with the diadem. Other than that, built for damage versus machines and humans. Here's the setup. There's the build. We're using that card for the machine killer and LB damage. Maxed LB, maxed human, maxed machine. Kresnik is dual wielding with quad attack. He's also got some LB fill. Very important. We want him to fill his LB quite a bit. And then a morale card. Shift form is again quad attacking with the treasured ring as well. We're starting in the shift form. Quad attack, LB fill, so we can get his LB good to go, because his LB is used a lot in this fight, both base and shift form. Runda is, he's got 320 lightning and 300 light resist. That way he's immune to all the elemental damage after a buff. We're doing an 80% lightning resist with Kresnik, and we're doing 100% light resist with Fina. So here's the setup. Other than that, just pure bulk. Power cut card. Jex card is better if you have it. I don't. Wilk in the base form is using the Obsidian Bracer, and he's got to be starting with the Obsidian Bracer. Also, don't put the Obsidian Bracer on Kresnik. I learned from experience, because Kresnik has so many auto-castings, it delays the auto-cast of the Bracer, and it'll go off after the boss applies the damage over time. And you'll have a really powerful damage over time. So put the Obsidian Bracer on someone with minimal auto-casting. That way, the auto-casts don't interrupt the Bracer and let the Bracer take too long to activate. The Bracer has to go off before the boss does his ambush damage over time. Anyway, other than that, base form's kind of whatever. He is dual wielding on his own card for the morale fill, which might not be needed because we are using Kresnik. Shift form is damage, go with the axe. Just damage versus humans and machines. I think he's maxed on everything. He is. There we go. Fina the Return is dual wielding on a morale card. And again, you can get these cards from the token shop if you don't own them. Other than that, just kind of whatever. Some Esper fill as well, so we can get the Esper on turn 2 for the field. And there we go. And then 2B in both forms are built for LB damage versus humans and machine. It's very easy for her to build because she's it's her Clash of Wills, of course, and she's really good. Maxed human machine, and then shift form identical. And I gave her some LB fill with Guardian of Light Kyrie, both forms, so we can get her LB a little bit easier, guaranteed. It's probably not required, but I think it makes it a little bit less RNG. Anyway, the turn chart will be in the comments. There's the guide for what to do if the boss is healing. And if you don't have Lilith, swap in Tsukiko and use her as a damage dealer and use her field, etc. Okay, see you in a bit.